All right, welcome everyone to another weekly webinar. Today's topic is going to be millennials and following the money. So what does that really mean? Well, the big thing here today is we're going to be talking about that wealth management, not wealth management, the giant wealth transfer that's going to be taking place here in the next, some odd 20 or 30 years. Today we want to be talking about how that applies to you and where you can use the CRM in using the tools to help create those relationships with those millennials, so that when that wealth transfer happens, you have that great relationship with those heirs of that inheritance, and you can continue working with them. So a couple little statistics that I found doing some research by Investment News is that 66% of children fire their parents' financial advisor after they receive an inheritance. That's a staggering number. And another thing that kind of falls in line with that is that the number one obstacle to retaining assets passed to heirs was due to a lack of relationship. So what that means is that you have these people who are receiving this money, but they don't know who they're talking to because their parents have been dealing with them for so long that there's never been a relationship created. And how this ties through millennials is that things are changing. We know that the world is a different place now, and that every generation is going to be acting a little bit different. And there's stereotypes that are placed on millennials. Me being a millennial myself, there are stereotypes, but it doesn't mean that everybody is going to fall into them. But they do act and they do communicate a different way because their lives have been different. So today we're going to be talking about that. So that's our issue. Let's go ahead and jump in and take a look at what we can do to help that. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to jump into a contact record, and we're going to go into my guy Emmett Brown over here. He's a good friend of mine. You may have know him from Back to the Future. So if we click into the contact record here, we'll be able to go ahead and see what his family tree looks like. So we can see if he does have kids. So we can go over here to the top and click onto his family name. And we go ahead and begin to see that he already has a family. So he's married to Clara, and he's got two sons, Vern and Jules. And this is great to know because then this is how we can track whether or not they have children. And then from there, we can go ahead and set up different things that will help us track, what's going on within the family and start to create that relationship that we're really trying to get, so that when that wealth transfer happens, we are going to go ahead and have that solid, strong relationship with them. So a couple things that we can do are use use keywords and UDFs to define, what type of, maybe they're a millennial, maybe we want to segment them out in a specific age, so that when we are going to go ahead and manipulate our data or run a campaign, we can go ahead and see, who we want to reach out to. So we can do that by clicking into a contact record. Let's go into Vern here. And from here, we can go ahead and adjust their status. So right here, we have child of client. So this is indicating that Vern is a child of a current client that we have. And in order to get that status here, if we want to add that to our current system, we go up to the top right-hand corner, go to manage our account, go down to manage database lists, and then on the right-hand side, we can go down to statuses, and we'll be able to adjust which statuses we want. So here we have child of client, which is going to be really beneficial. So then when we want to reach out to these clients or just the children, if we have some bit of information we want to let them know about, we can go ahead and do that. So with that being said, let's go back onto the left-hand side, click into contacts. We're actually going to see what type of information we can pull up using that status. So if we go up to the top, we click Advanced Search, we're going to begin to find that specific status. So we're going to click the type as contact. We're going to go to Status. We're going to go to equals to. we're going to do child of client. Now, it'd be kind of weird because maybe not all the children are of age, so they may not always be representative of somebody that we would really want to talk to. But maybe let's look at their age of like 18 and over. We can go ahead and hit on the right-hand side. We can hit and we can go ahead and go as the type is contact. We'll go ahead and do age. We'll do greater than or equal to, and then we're going to put that value. We're going to see who's 18 or over. Go ahead and run. So now we have a whole list of children that are part of our CRM system, that are part of our clients, that are 18 and over, that may potentially be looking into maybe saving for college, or looking into maybe eventually getting some inheritance based off of their parents unfortunately passing away. So this is a great way to access that. Now on the flip side of that, we can use UDFs. And UDFs are called user-defined fields. And again, we can go ahead and adjust those by going up to the top right-hand corner, going to manage our database. And then we can go in and down into under the contacts on the right-hand side, we can go to user-defined fields. Now, the one that I really like is generation, because we're going to treat, like I said earlier, we're going to treat different generations differently. One thing we know about millennials is that they're going to communicate in different ways. And we're going to get to that in a little bit. But what we can go down here and do is we can go ahead and add a new user-defined field. So if we wanted to go ahead and use generation as a user-defined field, we can go ahead and type in generation. And from here, we know that there's roughly about 3 or 4 generations that are currently going, alive in America. We have the baby boomers, we have Gen X, and then you have Gen Y or millennials. So for here, let's go ahead and do a list of values. So we can go ahead and add baby boomer. We can go ahead and add generation, or we'll do Gen X, and the last one we'll do millennial. And what this is going to end up doing when we hit add user-defined field, what it's going to do is it's going to give us a selection to. This is going to allow us to have when we get into a contact record. Let's go hop back into my guy Vern, because he's the son of my guy Doc. So if we click into him and we want to see, now that we have that UDF created, we can go down here to the bottom into what we like to call the one look view. And we can go ahead and click UDFs, which is user defined fields. And we go ahead and add one to his account. So then we can start tracking whether or not he's a millennial, because if he is a millennial, we're going to communicate with him in maybe a different way. Or we're going to send him content that is going to be specific to his liking. So we can go down, scroll down to generation. And then it's going to give us that value that we had created. So he's going to be a millennial. We'll go ahead and add that UDF. So along those lines, another thing that we want to talk about is building that relationship. And so as you can use keywords and UDFs that we had like we have already talked about. And so what we can do is, while you're building a relationship with your client, you should also be trying to build a relationship with their children as well. And we can do this by using UDFs or keywords. So right now we already have the keyword as millennial under Vern, because we know that he is, he's a child, so he's obviously going to be a millennial who was born within the last couple years. So then we can, maybe he likes baseball. We're talking to Doc, and we find out that Vern is a huge baseball fan. So what we can go ahead and do is we can add a keyword to that. So we can go ahead and add right up here. We can say baseball fan. Go down to the bottom, go ahead and add. And now we know that the keyword is baseball fan. So now that's just that one little bit we can call when we're talking to Doc. We can ask him, hey, how's Vern? Has he been watching any baseball lately? Just that one extra layer of relationship building. Now, to take it a step further, if we wanted to know which was his favorite team, we can go back into UDFs. And if we've already created this, we can go ahead and drop down to favorite MLB team. And then we can say maybe he's a SF Giants fan. He's in good company, so am I. Go ahead and add that UDF. And so now, again, we've created that layer of relationship building where we now know that he's a Giants fan. So if we get some extra tickets, or maybe we have some information about the Giants, get some swag, we can send them off to him. The kid now is happy. As he grows up, as he gets older, he'll know that we're the guy to come to when it comes to money management. So that's how we can add keywords and UDFs to adding a better relationship with our clients' children. Now, as I mentioned earlier, millennials are going to communicate in different mediums. So what works for their parents may not work for their kids. Technology is ever changing, and we know that most kids are most people really are attached to that phone. So they're going to be, millennials are more likely to communicate through maybe a text message or social media, versus whether parents may have gotten snail mail or emails or phone calls, something like that. I know personally, I've texted friends and, or I've given my friends a call, and I, get declined, and then all of a sudden I get a text message that says, "What's up?" It's like, man, why don't you pick up your phone? Can't we just talk? I want to go ahead and just get this message out real quick. But that's not the case for everybody. So we want to just be aware of that. And so as we are, developing those relationships, we are, knowing that they are going to communicate in a different way and through different mediums. So what I like to talk about here and how that applies is, let's hop into my guy, Bruce Wayne. We all know Bruce Wayne. So if we click into his contact record, we're going to kind of take a look at this concept called primary versus preferred. And so what that's going to be is, primary is going to be of the mediums that are available, meaning phone, email, snail mail, whatever we decide that medium is. Those are going to be the primary of those different types. So we have the emergency phone, we have Wayne Manor, and we have his cell phone. Wayne prefers to get called on his primary line through Wayne Manor. And if we're going to email him, he doesn't want to be emailed at his old email. He wants to be emailed through his home email. And same with, he's got multiple houses. He wants, if we're going to send him anything, we're going to reach out to him at this address. Now, where does preferred come in? Now, preferred is going to be of those three types of communications that we have, he would prefer to be emailed. So if you take a look right here down the middle, you have, or I like to kind of be like the right-hand side versus the left-hand side. The left-hand side is going to be your primary, whereas your right-hand side is going to be the preferred method of communication. And we can go ahead and adjust that right here by going to edit. And you'll see these little check boxes that are already marked as primary and preferred. So we can go ahead and say that richguy at 22@gmail.com is his preferred method of communication. So if we go ahead and unclick that and update email address, you notice that the bold goes away. Then we can go ahead and say he only likes to be called, and he's no longer interested in getting emails. He wants to only be reached out via phone. We can go ahead and update that, and now Wayne Manor is now bold. So that's going to be that extra layer as we develop those relationships. How maybe not always how we're going to communicate with them based off of compliance or whatever it is, but it's just one of those things that you need to realize that they may not always take a phone call, or they may not always get back to you via email, because it's just the way that they like to communicate. And we can show that here. So another thing that I want to point out, with going back to our theme of trying to create those relationships, is let's look into seminars. So if we go over to the right-hand side, the left-hand side, and we click into seminars, what I find to be maybe a really good idea to kind of gain that relationship and get that face time with those kids maybe an event for college tuition saving, right? So we know that it'll come out where parents will say, hey, I got some kids, I want to start saving for their college tuition. So hey, why not go ahead and throw a quick little dinner seminar where you're bringing the parents with the future college participant. That way you can get that FaceTime and you can go ahead and start that relationship. And we can do that by, on the right hand side, we can go ahead and click new seminar. And then we can go ahead and say, let's go ahead and say college planning dinner event. Let's put it for next Tuesday. Let's put it at 6 p.m. and it's going to go for about 2 hours. So we'll go ahead and set that. We're going to leave the status as active because it's going to be an open seminar. So from here, we have our seminar now created. This is going to be, we can go ahead and adjust any details that we want. We can put the location, maybe it's at one of our favorite restaurants or it's a local restaurant. We can then go ahead and put a description of what we want to, maybe what we want to talk about or any details that we want to discuss during that event. We can also link a workflow. If we have a workflow, this is something that we do on a regular basis and we want to repeat that process without making it troublesome for newcomers coming onto the team and trying to execute the same plan. We can go ahead and add that here. Now, we want to get into manage attendees, but we want to also create a list of the clients that we're going to invite. So once we create a list, let's just go ahead and do contact. We're going to click into contacts on the left-hand side. We're going to go to advanced search. We can do this a couple ways. We can segment out our list of people that we would normally talk with. So maybe it's our, let's do contact status equals to maybe our active clients, but then we also want to see, but we only want to see maybe our high-end clients. So we'll go ahead and do and because we're going to add that another layer of search. We'll do contact. We'll do maybe category. Yeah, category is a good one. So we'll do category equals to, and we'll do our AAA clients. What we can do is we can go ahead and run that, and we can get this big list of people. So we have a giant list. We have 62 people. That's a lot of people. We can cut this down even more. Maybe we want to add one more location. Maybe we only want to see people who are local to us. So we can go ahead and add that extra layer if needed. We can go to address. Maybe we would do zip code. We'll put in a couple zip codes, or maybe we want to do state. Only people who are within California. Whatever it is, we can go ahead and do that. Once we have the list that we want to go ahead and invite to that seminar, we can go ahead and click on the left-hand side, click this little checkbox. We're going to select all 62 contacts for this example. We're going to head over to the right-hand side. We're going to click Contact Options, scroll down to the bottom to Bulk Actions. Actually, we're not going to. Let's just click into a couple of them. We got a little testing error, so we'll go ahead and just do these 5 right here just for the example. This is funny. All right, so we'll go ahead and run that one more time. Let's go ahead and actually, you know what? I am going to add an extra layer. Let's just see if we can get this list down a little bit lower. So we'll do address. We're going to do state, and let's go ahead and do equals to. Let's do California. See if that will run. Perfect. So now we have a smaller list. Now we only have 14 people. So go ahead and check all those, select all of them. We'll go down to bulk actions over here on the right-hand side. And now we can go ahead and take that list and go ahead and add it to this seminar that we are currently going to be reaching out to them. So we know it's a college planning dinner event, and we're going to put them as the status of invited. Now, this field is going to be editable within your managed database list. So if you decide that for your seminars you want different statuses, you can go ahead and adjust those as you feel needed. So for this example, we're going to put them all as invited. What that's going to do is it's going to go ahead and it's going to add it to that seminar. So if we click back into seminars on the right-hand side, we can go ahead and even though this was the event that we used, we're going to go ahead and jump up to this retirement savings seminar because we know that it does have attendees. And then we can go ahead and in the middle of the screen, go ahead and click Manage Attendees. And then we can go ahead and see all of the people that we invited. And as we do our call campaign or our snail mail or however we're reaching out to them, we can go ahead and let them know, hey, we'd love to talk about college savings because I know you've shown interest in it, and we'd love for you to bring your future college student so then we can get a good idea of who they are and then also kind of help them with some money management while they're in college. And then as we adjust and as they begin to RSVP, we can go ahead and update the attendee, and then we can select them to RSVP yes, RSVP no, and we can go ahead and update the attendee. And also a really great thing to do is, so Bill here, he's going to bring his son, and if we want to go ahead and capture his son's information and create a contact, we can go over here to guest list through this action icon over here, and then we can put Bill's son. So maybe it's Doug Adams is his son's name. Go ahead and add guest. So then we now know that he brought his son Doug, and then we can go ahead and later on create a contact record for that client and his son. So that's going to be seminars. That's going to be a great way to reach out to your clients and try to begin building that relationship with those kids. The last thing I really want to talk about is opportunities. The thing with opportunities is they're a great way to see what's in your sales pipeline. So if we click over here on the left-hand side, we click into opportunities, we can go ahead and see all of the potential deals that we have coming up. And this is going to be really big because as that wealth transfer begins, there's going to be inheritance going to be giving out. So if we can use an opportunity to kind of track if people are going to be adding or are going to be receiving inheritance. So what we can do for this example, we're going to go ahead and click on the right-hand side. We'll go to New Opportunity. And for this one, we're going to use my good friend Jeremy. So Jeremy, unfortunately, his grandfather just passed away. He knows he's going to be receiving some sort of inheritance. He wants to reach out and he wants to talk about what he's going to do with that money once he receives it, where he's going to place it in which account. But he's not really sure when he's going to be receiving it. So it's more of just an opportunity of this is future business. This is potential future business. Let's begin tracking that. So we'll go ahead and say, so right here, we've gone ahead and created that message of we know Jeremy's going to receive some inheritance and he's not sure what to do with it. Since Jeremy's already a client, we're going to go ahead and put existing business. And for permission, we're okay because we're the only one in our CRM system, so we're not going to go ahead and try to permission out that information. So go ahead and create add that new opportunity. And from here, this is where we can really start adding in the information that we want. So from here, we can go ahead and add Jeremy as a contact. So Jeremy, there he is. And from here, we can go ahead and say, what are the next steps? So Jeremy's reached out to us. He knows he's going to be getting some inheritance, but he doesn't know when he's going to be receiving it. But we can kind of guess that it's going to we should probably reach out to him within the next 3 months just to try to follow up to see what he's got going on, see if he has received it. And then also he can reach out to us in the meantime if he does receive it before that. So we can just say follow up with Jeremy. Receiving inheritance. So the stage, it's pretty new. So we're going to put it in the proposal stage. For this, this is another field that can be customized through your managed database lists. The ones that are going to be defaulted within the system are going to be closed lost and closed won. This is going to be really great for you to track, are we winning our opportunities or are we losing our opportunities? What's the percentage of us, how much are we putting in there and how much are we losing? So for this one, we're going to go ahead and put it's in proposal stage. We can put its existing business. We can assign it to a specific servicing advisor if we'd like, or a specific user. But then we can also put the source of it. There's a ton of different fields that we can fill out. But we know that he said roughly somewhere around $50,000 is what he's going to be receiving in the inheritance amount. And then we can put our projected revenue from moving that money. Once we save that opportunity, then from here, it's now on the horizon. We're going to be reaching out. We're going to be looking at it over the course of so many weeks, or however often you want to check your opportunities. We can go ahead and check that just to kind of make sure that it's at the forefront, just so we're kind of reminding ourselves. And so what we can do that is we can always, on the left-hand side, we can click into our opportunities here. We can also, when we log in, if we're on the Today page, also click into opportunities up here at the top. And then it's going to show what opportunities are currently where they're at, and then you can also see them by stage. So this is just another way to give you a good overview of that sales pipeline that you have. And all in all, this is really here to help you create those relationships with millennials. We can go ahead and make sure that we are segmenting them out with keywords and UDFs. We can make sure that we're communicating them with them in the specific mediums that they want to be communicated with. We can also set up seminars based off of trying to get them that FaceTime with those kids, as well as when we have those deals, we can go ahead and track them with opportunities. So that is pretty much all I have for everybody today. If you have any questions along the way before your next RTU, because I know everybody wants to go see us out there, you could always give us a call if you have any questions at 1-800-206-5030, or you can email us at support@redtailtechnology.com. Again, I appreciate your time, and you guys have a great rest of your day, okay?